OMG 50 Cent, sentenced to 13 years behind bars following mansion raid by feds. It is a surprising turn of events that has shocked the music industry. Welcome back to Social Celebrity Lifestyle, where we bring you the most juicy and interesting entertainment, so buckle up for this most intriguing turn of event, so make sure to watch this video to the end. The federal government conducted a search warrant on the mansion of rap superstar 50 Cent, which resulted in the imposition of a sentence of 13 years in federal prison for the rapper. As you were beginning to believe that the G-Unit general had experienced everything there is to experience, he is now facing the possibility of spending more than 10 years in prison for offenses that no one could have possibly expected. However, this is not just another tale of a celebrity's fall from grace. It is a story that is much more than that. This is a narrative about the unrelenting quest of justice, the expenses that come with fame and money, and the unpredictability that even the most famous people in the world have to live with. Those who are fans of 50 Cent are left in a state of astonishment as they see him face the possibility of spending more than 10 years in prison. Their confusion stems from the fact that the powerful have fallen to such a low level. Beginning with the dramatic raid that revealed 50's dark secrets, moving on to the courtroom drama that sealed his fate, and concluding with the uncertain future that now lies ahead for one of the most legendary names in hip-hop, we will go into the specifics of this remarkable narrative in the following 650 words. We will begin with the raid that revealed 50's dark secrets. It is imperative that you keep your hats on, because this is a story that you will not want to miss out on. In reality, what appeared to be an average day in the life of Curtis 50 Cent Jackson was actually pretty ordinary. The multi-platinum rapper was unwinding on his expansive property in Connecticut, and he was absolutely unaware of the reality that federal authorities were collecting just outside of his exceptional home. He was completely unaware of the possibility that they were gathering. On the other hand, everything was going to undergo a significant transformation in the blink of an eye. At the same time that a swarm of black SUVs drew up to the property without any previous warning, the gates were abruptly besieged by a large number of heavily armed agents. After being taken completely by surprise, 50 Cent had no choice but to watch in dread as the federal government carried out a no-knock warrant and searched every nook and cranny of his property. This was the only option available to him. Shockwaves would be felt throughout the entertainment industry as a result of the subsequent revelations that were made by the agents. In addition to piles of counterfeit currency, firearms that were not licensed, and other items, there were indications at several locations across the estate that indicated the existence of a complex system for the laundering of money. 50 Cent, a rap icon who had previously proven to be invincible, was now facing federal allegations that could potentially put him behind bars for decades. Because of these allegations, he could wind up in jail. Fans and critics alike were left asking the same thing as the news of the raid spread like wildfire. How could someone who was at the height of the rap business go to such a low level? The answer, it seemed, lay in the insatiable craving for wealth and power that 50 possessed, an addiction that had now put him in the direct line of fire of the authorities who were responsible for law enforcement. In the months that followed the raid, the legal team that represented 50 Cent mounted an aggressive defense against the allegations. They argued that the evidence against him had been handled incorrectly, and that he was being unfairly targeted by overzealous prosecutors. They maintained that he was being unfairly targeted. However, as the proceedings of the trial advanced, it became increasingly clear that the rapper's fate was almost surely going to be decided. This was the case both before and after the trial. Witness after witness, throughout the course of their testimony, created a damning image of 50 Cent's involvement in a massive criminal organization. Throughout the course of the inquiry, accountants and other financial professionals provided a detailed description of the intricate network of shell companies and offshore bank accounts that the rapper had utilized in order to conceal the fact that he had laundered millions of dollars. Former associates stated that the rapper was actively involved in the counterfeiting enterprise through his participation in the business. They went into further detail about how he was directly responsible for overseeing the manufacturing and distribution of the phony currency. It is possible that the testimony that was presented by an individual who had previously worked with 50 Cent and had consented to engage with the federal government was the most devastating. A witness who had worked closely with the rapper for a number of years described numerous instances in which 50 Cent used intimidation and violence to maintain his control over the criminal empire he had built. The witness had worked closely with the rapper for a number of years. During the dying minutes of the trial, the prosecution made a blistering closing argument in which they painted 50 Cent as a cruel criminal mastermind who had leveraged his fame and money to mask his unlawful actions. A decision of guilty on all charges was made by the jury after only a few hours of deliberation, despite the fact that they looked to be convinced by the mountain of evidence that was shown to them. At the time of his return to the courtroom for the sentencing, the rapper, who had previously been recognized for his self-assurance, appeared to be visibly distressed. The judge was conscious that he had no choice but to impose a heavy punishment on him because the repercussions of his conduct had now come back to haunt him. He was aware of this fact. Once the judge made the announcement on the punishment, there was a complete and utter lack of sound in the courtroom. If 50 Cent were to receive a term of 13 years in federal prison, it would be a punishment that would almost make it impossible for him to enjoy the prime of his life. His freedom and his legacy would be taken away from him, and he would be confined to a jail cell that was cold and boring. The rapper, who had previously been able to command stadiums full of adoring followers, would now be confined to a jail cell that was cold and boring. After the sentencing, the fans of 50 Cent were left in a state of denial, as they battled to come to grips with the harsh truth that their idol had fallen to such a low level. They were left in a state of bewilderment. Despite the fact that the path that lied before for the rap artist himself remained undetermined, the idea of spending more than 10 years in prison loomed as a strong possibility. On the other hand, when 50 Cent was getting ready to begin his sentence, one thing became quite clear. The collapse of a massively powerful guy had just beginning. We have seen that the fall of 50 Cent serves as a cautionary tale about the pitfalls of unfettered ambition and the high cost of fame. This is something that we have realized. Not only has this story made an indelible mark on the music industry, but it has also left an everlasting mark on the lives of his many admirers. This is a narrative that has left an indelible impression on the world, beginning with the dramatic raid that revealed his illegal operations and ending with the courtroom drama that sealed his fate. In spite of the fact that 50 Cent has been subjected to such tribulation, his legacy continues to endure over the years. All of his contributions to the world of hip-hop, including his music, his impact, and his larger-than-life personality, have left an indelible mark on the genre. His legacy will live on forever. Considering that the powerful 50 Cent is about to begin serving out his sentence, we can't help but question whether he will ever be able to triumph over the circumstances that he is currently facing. The only thing that can tell is the passage of time. Nevertheless, there is one thing that can be stated with complete assurance. This is a story that will continue to be talked about for a considerable amount of time in the subsequent years.